Grizzlies are North America's most feared predator. And while most hunters pursue them with a rifle or muzzleloader, very few have what it takes to hunt one of the most dangerous bears on the planet with only a bow and arrow. This week, we bring you one of host Phil Phillips' greatest classics as we flash back in time and share a hunt with you that he'll never forget. His grizzly hunt in coastal British Columbia. This week's episode of Phil Phillips Unleashed begins now.
Hunting has always been my way of life. It's my profession, it's my passion. It's what I do best. My life's been captured on film so I could share it with you. I'm Phil Phillips, and this is my story. I hope you'll join me.
I'm a cowboy, I'm a worldwide cowboy, and there ain't no way you're ever gonna slow me down. I said, hoo. I said, hoo.
For those of you who have followed my show over the years, you know I make an annual trip to British Columbia to hunt with my good friend and outfitter, Bob Milligan. I've taken several black bears, 2 really nice goats, but the one hunt I'll never forget is this grizzly.
Guide Bob Milligan had decided to take Phil to an extremely remote area of his guide territory he had hunted the week before and seen a lot of bear sign. So they packed up a fifth-wheel trailer and hauled it several hours north and set up a spike camp that they'd call home for the next 10 days.
Well, the plan going in was to hunt on a salmon-filled stream, ambush the bears when they came in to feed on the fish, and the narrow, brushy creek bottom we were hunting on made it perfect for an archery hunt.
Grizzlies congregate on the salmon streams in the fall, putting on as much fat as possible in preparation for hibernation. Phil and Bob will scout the streams for bear sign and set up in likely feeding spots. The goal is to get a close-range shot at a feeding bear, and since Phil is hunting with a bow, he'll need to get real close.
This is where me and Todd seen that big one here. He stood right up on us over here.
Cool. Some tracks.
Yeah, this is a pretty good spot here, but we might be better off over here. We probably get a broadside shot if he walks out in this point here, eh?
Yeah, this wouldn't be a very good angle here.
And the wind's going back in here. If he comes out here, he'll scent us here.
Looks like that moose track.
Yeah, lots of moose in here.
Where do you think he's coming at?
Over the log jam, and then probably feed this way.
So there's salmon in this hole here?
There's salmon. He's digging roots out of the log jam and stuff like that.
Cool.
So I think we'll set up over in this corner here and we'll see what happens. There's been a little bit of activity, lots of tracks here.
Just came across the river. Bob was showing me where this bear had been coming through, and he's just been here maybe this morning. Big track, big foot on him. Think that's the same bear that you and Todd saw?
chance. He's a big bear. That's a big track.
Oh yeah. So you think by that pine across there?
And if we set up over here, if he comes down here, we'll be able to see him. He'll probably come right in here. There's lots of dead fish bones here.
When we come back from commercial break, Phil continues his bow hunt for a British Columbia grizzly. Phil Phillips Unleashed is brought to you by Scentlock, Easton, Matthews, catch us if you can, Burris Optics, New Archery Products, in Mississippi, find your true south. This segment was sponsored by Wildlife Research Center and Scent Killer Gold. Phil and Bob are in position and set up where Bob had seen a big bear the week before. And lots of fresh bear tracks confirm that his plan is a good one.
Once we got set up, the first thing I always do was range certain spots across the creek. That way if a bear came in, I didn't have to worry about ranging anything. Just had to worry about drawing my bow and taking the shot.
And it wasn't long before Phil spotted the big bear upstream from their position.
Big bear just came out. Aubrey couldn't see it because of the tree here. And I could watch him digging behind a bush right there. And I think he's bedded right there. He's going that way.
You know, I was able to see the bear way before the camera could. And as he got closer and closer, the more and more excited I got. I picked my spots that I'd ranged, decided where I thought the bear would cross, set my sight, and mentally prepared myself to take the shot.
I hope he doesn't come up this bank right here.
This giant bear was coming down the river right at me. Suddenly I realized he was going to be less than 30 yards away. After the shot, I could actually feel and hear my heart beating inside my chest.
Good, big bear. Got him good.
Watch this slow motion replay of the shot. You can see exactly where the arrow struck the bear, angling slightly back and out of the vitals.
Well, I thought I'd made a really good shot, but we still gave him an hour. We slipped across the creek and went in looking for him.
Well, it's been hard, but we waited about an hour. We looked back at the tape. It looks like a good shot, but he'd been quartering away, and right when I released, he turned and his leg was coming back. Hit him right at the point of the elbow, that far up from the bottom, so if it's far enough forward, he's not going to go anywhere, but it's right there where it may be one lung liver kind of deal, so Gonna sneak across, look at the arrow, and if it looks good, we're gonna sneak on in and see if we can't find a bear. Here's where he was standing. Man, did he ever kick? He went right up through here. Arrow's right here. That looks really good. Well, that's the new full metal jacket from Easton. And that little Nitron broadhead and NAPs. Wanted to make sure I got a lot of penetration. These are big bears, and it whistled through them like nothing. So let's go see if we can find a bear. There's some blood right there. Tell you what, Bob. I think what we're gonna do, since we're not sure of the situation, these things are kind of gnarly sometimes. I think we should let Aubrey take one of the guns. We'll leave the camera here, and then hopefully we can just run back out and get it, because I don't think he went very far in here. But we better be safe.
When we come back from commercial break, Phil, Bob, and Aubrey return the next morning to see if they can find Phil's giant grizzly. This segment was sponsored by Wildlife Research Center and Scent Killer Gold. Before commercial break, Phil arrowed a giant grizzly, and they're back the next morning to follow the blood trail and look for the bear.
Well, we were losing daylight, so we decided to leave the bear overnight. We got back to camp and reviewed the footage. I was glad we did. He'd taken a step and I'd actually hit him at a bad angle. I didn't sleep a wink that night. All I could think about was recovering the bear the next day.
Well, not real good news. I know the bear's hit good. We waited an hour and we didn't get in there maybe 40 yards. And we heard a couple branches break. We eased up in a little bit farther and found a bed. I don't know if he was laying in it or not. You know, we're not for sure what went on, but there's a good bit of blood. I mean, the blood trail's real good. It's gonna be dark here in about 20 or 30 minutes. We decided if it is too far back, we're better off to leave him. It's gonna be cold tonight. I'd rather find him right here than get one of us chewed on or push him clear out of the country. So we're gonna hike our butts back out here and then be back in here in the morning. I'm sure we're gonna find our bear, but I don't wanna risk moving him out of this whole area, so we'll come back tomorrow. They were trailing this wounded bear, and it's not for the faint of heart, I'll promise you. One heck of a bear bed right here.
We followed the bear into the willows, found a great blood trail. We actually had to crawl through a couple of his bear beds, and it wasn't long before we came upon the bear. Unfortunately, he was still alive. He'd backed himself into a corner of brush, and as soon as we came into his line of sight, here he came at a full charge. Unfortunately, Aubrey's desire to live outweighed his desire to film this. You know, I can't say I blame him. Well, I wish he could have been here for all the excitement about 45 minutes ago. We came in, this time we decided to bring everybody with a gun. So Aubrey had a shotgun, Bob had a shotgun, and I had a .338. And I was standing right exactly where Aubrey is right now. Aubrey was about here and Bob was about right where I'm standing. And that's where the bear is. And he came from a bed. We've been tracking him for, he didn't go, you know, we left him in here last night and he didn't go another 100 yards probably. He is really, really sick. I can't believe these things are that tough. When we examined him, it looks like I hit him a little bit back on the entry. He turned quartering towards me as you saw on the shot, and the exit came out right at the back of the ribs and was, you know, definitely too far back, but almost anything else in North America would have been laying right here waiting on us today. Well, he was laying here waiting on us, all right. And Bob and I both shot almost simultaneously in what, 5, 6, 7 yards maybe, and dropped him right there. And then he started trying to roll back up and Bob put another slug or two in him. It got rather exciting for a few minutes. And like I said, Aubrey was packing a shotgun too. He happened to be in a spot where he's looking right through all that heavy brush and he couldn't even get a shot off. So that's what you get when you don't make a good shot with an arrow. So if you're gonna do this with a bow and arrow, I guess you gotta do a better job than I did, or else you're gonna get some real adrenaline the next day. Hey, Bob.
If you'd like to book a guided big game hunt like the one featured in this show, give Steve's Outdoor Adventures a call. The toll-free number and website address are listed on the screen. And Steve will personally help you book the hunting or fishing trip of a lifetime. When we come back from this short commercial break, we'll take a closer look at Phil's giant grizzly. Phil Phillips Unleashed is brought to you by ScentLock, Easton, Matthews, catch us if you can, Burris Optics, New Archery Products, and Mississippi. Find your true south. Before we went to commercial break, Phil and Bob had found the wounded grizzly and finished him in a full-blown charge. Now they're finally getting a chance to take a close look at the big bear.
But it's every bit as big a bear as I thought it was. And I guess it's one of those deals where it turned into a Pope and Crockett hunt, unfortunately. But you don't want to leave an animal like that out here. We could have probably left him come back in this evening, because I mean, you could see every place he stopped. He was not doing well, but he still had plenty of, when he got that adrenaline going, he had plenty of energy to come plowing through this willow patch, or alders, or whatever this is we're in. But it was, never seen nothing like it. Well, we finally got it done. Had to do it the hard way, unfortunately. Bob did his job right. The first day we came in, and I actually didn't have tall enough waders. I just had hip waders on and got in over the top. It was chilly, so I had to kind of peel everything off. When we stopped further down the river, we were still in a good spot. Had a black wolf come by, but he just was in and out like that. And next day I went and got the chest waders. Bob had an extra pair there at camp, and we were able to come further down river, and we went right to where Todd Graham had been hunting with him. Was he here last week?
Last week, yeah.
And they had actually seen this big old boy. They'd walked right into him in his bed, and he stood up on his hind legs and actually got him clear back in the river. He's a real aggressive bear. And Bob felt pretty confident that he'd moved back in the area after they'd kind of bumped him out of there. Gave it a few days, and we weren't there 30 minutes. I mean, we weren't really even set up right. We clipped some branches so I could shoot across the river. Saw big tracks where the bear had come in. I mean, it's a perfect setup. And I look up and there's this big pumpkin coming out of the brush. Then he messed around with us, went in and out of the brush over there, and I thought he was gonna come on our side of the river, which wouldn't have been too good. He'd been like 7 yards away when he came in the sight. He came back around and walked right down the beach like Bob said he probably would. And he's only about 26 yards, and he turned quarter, and Everything happened pretty fast. I shot right when he's taking another step, and his whole torso turned, and the exit wound came out actually clear back here, and the entry wound's about here. So I'm sure I got liver, but we came in a little ways. We heard him moving, left him overnight, came back in this morning, and I was just certain we'd find a dead bear. Well, we did, but it was after he charged us, and we shot him at 7 yards with the .338 and shotgun. Definitely an exciting way to end the adventure. Thanks, Bob, man.
No problem.
No problem, yeah, right. Well, Bob's got a 10,000 square mile area that's one of the best for trophy black bears, trophy mountain goats, and of course, trophy grizzlies. And I would highly recommend this outfitter to anybody that wants to do a British Columbia hunt. Well, I sure hope you enjoyed today's show, and I hope you'll tune in next time. Until then, I'm your host, Phil Phillips, and always remember these 3 things. Be safe, practice good conservation, and always leave a bear found it. We'll see you next time.
Phil might be the worldwide cowboy, but as one of the world's premier bow hunters, Phil has hunted the world and taken several amazing trophies. But none will ever be remembered more than this grizzly hunt.
I'm a cowboy. I'm a worldwide cowboy. And there ain't no way you're ever gonna slow me down. I said, hoo. I said, hoo.
This has been a Steve's Outdoor Adventures production.